has a child, and employed is, yes, he is employed because he's a software engineer. And now we should display those. And there you go. It's true, and he is married. Now we also want to do the same thing and add functionality for the student. So we could just kind of copy and paste here. Instead of displaying a job, obviously we want to display the level of the grade. Instead of displaying relationship, we want to display what club this person is in. And instead of displaying whether it's this person is employed, we will display the numbers of his GPA. And how we get that information is also just about similar. Instead of getting that, grade level, let's just change this. And this was a get club. And we want to know his GPA. Let's do that. Let's say its GPA is this number. Okay, so now if you do the same here for a student, and say this is a new student. Again, no constructor, it does it by default. And say this person's name is, oops, Sean. Now, why is it doing this? Well, simply because we did not inherit from person yet. So now we have to do that. And it should be able to work. S done. Get age. Sean is only 15. And Sean is male. Now, what is this? Oh. Oops. This is not a string, and it's actually an integer. So we've got everything from the person class, all the information from the person, but now we need to specify his information as a student. So what is his grade level? Well, considering he's 15, I'm just gonna assume maybe he's a sophomore. And then we want to get his club. Which is, let's just say he's from the chess club. And lastly, we want to get this person's GPA. So let's just say this person has a GPA of 3.5. Insert to make complete. plus of an extra parentheses. So now we want to display this person. Display name. And then we'll display everything from the student information. So display level, display what club this person is in, and display that GPA. And I need to show and now we display everything. So this person is Sean. We didn't really display gender or age, but we know he's a sophomore, he's from the chess club, and his GPA is 3.5. Very nice. Next we have overloading. By having the same set of names for the methods, but holding different parameters, we know that the method has been overloaded. Java will recognize what the program wants to do by looking at the parameters the method is using. So for example, here's the format for one method, and here's the format for another. And as you can see, the one thing that's different is this. So let's go make an example of that. So here we have, say, the grade level of this person, and this is the method. To overload this, we would have to create the same method but with nothing on it. So here we should just say this doesn't really get the grade level, or we could say this has been overloaded. So then here we can go back to our main function, and instead of giving parameters to it, let's just say we don't do anything. We don't give it any parameters. So then if you run this program, you can see here that there is no grade level displayed on null because nothing was added into this variable. But over here it says it's overloaded, therefore it displays the name. This is because we obviously tell it that it's overloaded. So here, what if we force a grade level? So grade level becomes, let's say, freshman. If there's nothing inputted, then let's assume he's freshman. In that sense, it doesn't say it's overloaded anymore because we took that out. But now this person's information has been changed to freshman. Next is overriding. When the subclass shares the same method as the superclass, the subclass will take priority over the superclass. The method name must be identical in order for it to be overridden. Using the super keyword will prioritize the superclass's method instead. So let's go over an example of this as well. So in here we have, let's say, a get name in the superclass. But let's say we do the same thing here in the student. So this is the superclass and this is the subclass. So what if we make a function that's also get name, that also takes up a string parameter, and we say name equals m. Okay, now how do we differentiate this? So let's just say system.out.print this is superclass. And over here, we say this is the subclass. Alright, so now this getName, which function is it using? Is it this one or this one? It should be using the subclass, as it does here. Now, back into the presentation, how do we use the superclass instead? Onto abstraction. An abstract class is a class that can be used to implement an object. And in order to use an abstract class, you must inherit it from a subclass. An abstract method, however, has no implementation in its scope and instead implemented when you override it by a subclass, as we've shown how to do overriding. We use the abstract keyword to make the class or method and turn it abstract. This is what it would look like. So before I show an example, I want to cover interface. And interface is essentially similar to an abstract class. You can't instantiate it and must have the method's code implemented elsewhere. It looks similar to a class, but uses the interface keyword instead. If a class is going to use an interface, then it must have implements in the keyword of the class, just like an inheritance. So this is how you would make, or how an interface would look like, and this is how you use an interface. Let's try that now. So, not there, but here, we make a new interface. And this interface would be something like maybe change job. So this would be a method called, or an interface called change job. We make it. And here, what if we make an abstract method called change job? And we'll add a parameter here. And of course, we have to make it void. So here, since adult uses or have a job state, we want this interface to be implemented by the adult class. So then we do this. Okay, so now we can use this abstract function, and this time we can add functionality to it. So public void change job, and then we use strings. And here, we want to be able to change the job. So it'll be something like this. And that is essentially how you would use an abstract method. So we kind of want to add more visibility into this instead of just making it the same function as getJob. So what if we do system.out println changing job from, and then we tell them what job we have now. And then we say what we're changing the job to. So here we don't use println. And now we print the new job. Going back into the main function, we want to change the job here. Or we could say we're changing the job as a brand new thing. So we do a dot change job and say now he wants to be an astronomer. Okay. And now if we do that, change the job from software engineer to an astronomer. We can make some few adjustments here. And just like that. Next is polymorphism. Polymorphism is basically an object that can take many forms as long as the class has been inherited by another class. For example, car A equals a new sports car. Car is the superclass, and sports car is the subclass. So, here's an example of what that would look like. Person S equals new student. And we could still get those names. What we can also do is create a constructor for student. And do what we did before. Basically, we're taking these parameters, double, and a club. Now, here, we just set the parameters. And club equals C. And what we could do, as you can see, this person's grade level. Let's make it sophomore. This person's GPA. Let's make it 4.0. And the person's club, let's say this person's in the swimming club. So that is fine. It doesn't display any information yet, but as we've learned, we can also do a form of overriding. So here, I could say public void display info. And then here, it has nothing. But what we're going to do over here is also display info. But in this, we're actually going to show something. So here, we do grade level. Here, we do GPA. And here, we do the club information. And now we could set this guy's name here. Let's turn it into Rob. And what we're going to do is display Rob's information. What we can also do, is system name. So when we display our info, because it's overridden, it is using the subclasses display info over the superclass, which does nothing. this is the example of polymorphism. Lastly, we have encapsulation, and it's basically when you hide the data or variable by declaring it private. The way to retrieve and set those is through setters and getters, which are methods that we already have in our class. And what they do is receive and update them. So how do we encapsulate our class? Well, what we can do is say, make this private string, or make this string private. Now, what does this do to our program though? It finds errors. Why? Because we are trying to call out to a string that is private, and therefore it is out of our range to retrieve. So we cannot do that. And here as well, we can't do that. So what do we do? Well, essentially, I'm gonna have to delete this. We could still get the name through, obviously, the person's class functions. So now it works just as fine. The only thing is now is I can't retrieve name within the adult class or the student class. That is how you encapsulate data.